Hi everyone, this is Enea here, and today I will teach you how to draw the flower of life in GIMP. So the flower of life is one very well-known symbol in sacred geometry. So it represents the unity of all life and the interconnectedness of all beings. So this is what the end result is going to look like if you follow along with me. So in order to start, we go to File, New, and you create a new document. So the size is going to be 2000 by 2000 pixels, and we hit OK. And then we go to Image, Guides, New Guide by percent. So horizontal, 50%. And then vertical, 50%. Alright, so now we have our horizontal guides. So we can go ahead and draw the first cycle here in the middle. So in order to do so, we create a new layer and we call it first cycle and click OK. So in order to draw the first cycle, we are going to take the ellipse tool. We are going to set the settings. There is expense from center and aspects ratio as fixed 1:1, and we draw it starting here from the middle. And we set the size to 500 by 500 pixels. And then we go Edit, Stroke Selection, Ctrl-Shift-A to unselect. So now we have our first cycle. So if you look at the figure, so it has a symmetric pattern. So that means that we can draw the cycle only on one side of the composition, and then we can duplicate and flip them on the other side to have it on both sides. So then we start, we're going to draw the first set of cycles, so the first line here. So in order to do so, we can just replicate the first cycle and then take the move tool to move it upwards. And it must be positioned in such a way that the center on the circle must be on the outer edge of the first cycle, like this. So once we have it, we duplicate it anew. Make sure it is well centered. And then we are going to need one more cycle, but just the part here. So then we duplicate it again and we move it upwards like this. And then we're going to remove the outer part of the circle with a layer mask. So we go here, add layer mask, white full opacity, and then we take a brush to remove the outer part of the cycles. So full opacity, hardness 100%, and the size you can make somewhere around 70 pixels. And you go ahead and you draw here. Alright, so once you have removed the outer part of the cycle, then you can go here, apply layer mask. And then what we can do to have the cycles also move on the other side is like to merge them down. So we merge all the cycles apart from the very first one. So this will put it on one layer, and then we make layer to image size, and then we duplicate it, and then we take the flip tool, direction vertical, and we flip it. So now we have the first line of cycles right here, as you can see. So then we are going to create the second line of cycles. So we take the very first cycle that we created and we duplicate it. And then we move it here, so the middle of the cycle must be where the two cycles intersect, right here. So this is going to be our first cycle. So we are going to need some more cycles, so one and over another full cycle. So we go ahead and duplicate it, and we move it upwards like this. So make sure it is well centered where the cycles intersect. And then we are going to need some more two more partial cycles. So we duplicate it once more and we move it upwards. Make sure it's well centered, and then we are going again to apply a layer mask to remove the outer part. So add layer mask while at full opacity, and we take a brush, and then we remove the outer part here. And then we apply the layer mask. And then we're going to need one more cycle here, partial cycle here in this area here. So we duplicate this cycle one more, and we move it up like this. And it must be positioned in such a way that it intersects the other cycle here. Right here should be good. And then once again we can apply a layer mask, white full opacity, to remove the outer part. And then we take a brush, and then we paint like this. Okay, so now we can apply the layer mask. And then what we can do is to merge down all these layers, so then we can duplicate and flip them. So we go ahead. So as you can see now, they are all on one layer. So then we go ahead and we do image, layer to image size, and then we duplicate it, and then we take the flip tool, once again horizontally. So now we have the second line of cycles on both sides. So then we need to create the third line of cycles. So we go ahead and do so. So we once again duplicate the very first cycle that we had created, and then we move it like this in this direction to make sure that it is right here in the well centered. And then we duplicate it once more, and then we move it upwards right here where the cycles intersect, right here. So if it's going to be the second cycles, then we need two more partial cycles. So then we duplicate it once more, and we move it upstairs like this. And then we are, once again, we're going to apply a layer mask to remove the outer part of the cycle. So we take a brush and we paint in this part here. Make sure all is removed. Okay, so now once we have it, we apply the layer mask. And then we are going to need one more cycle here. So then we can duplicate the cycle again. And then move it upwards like this. So it must be positioned like this. Like this should be good. And then now, once again, we need to remove the outer part of the cycle. So we go ahead and we apply a layer mask while it's full opacity, and we take a brush and we paint on this part here. Okay, once we have it, we apply the layer mask. So now once we have it, we need to merge all these three cycles on one layer, but not the very first one in the middle. So we go ahead and we merge down the layers. So as you can see now, these three cycles are on one layer. So then we go ahead, layer to image size, we duplicate it, and then we take the flip tool vertically, and then we flip it. So now we have the cycles on both sides. So now we have the third line of layer. So we need two more lines. So here the fourth line, the cycles are only partial, as you can see. So we go ahead and we duplicate one cycle, and then we move it here where the line intersects, and then we need to remove the outer part here. So we are going to do so with a layer mask like last time. So add layer mask, we take the brush and then we paint here to remove the outer part, and then once again we apply the layer mask. And then we need one more cycle here. So we go ahead and we duplicate this cycle. Remove it here. Make sure it is centered here where the cycles intersect. And then once again we are going to apply a layer mask to remove the outer part. And you take the brush and you paint it here. And then you apply the layer mask. Then we are going to need one more cycle here. Once again we duplicate and we move it here on the outer edge like this. And then now we apply a layer mask with white full opacity. We take the brush and we remove the outer part like this. And we apply the layer mask. And then once again the same procedure, we need to merge all these circles on one layer. So as you can see now they are on one layer. And then we go layer to inner size, we duplicate the layer and then we flip it. So now we have our fourth row of layer, and now we need only these small circles here, and then we have the left half complete. So now we take one circle and duplicate it again, and we move it here. Make sure it is well centered. And now we are going once again to remove the outer half with the layer mask. So white full opacity, take a brush. And then we are going to need two more of this. So we apply the layer mask. We duplicate it. I move it here. Then I duplicate it once more. So make sure it is well aligned. Okay, so like this should be good. Okay, so now as you can see we have the left half of the flower of life that is now complete. So now what we can do to have the other half is to make the same procedure, so to merge all the circles on the left half together and then duplicate and flip them to have the flower of life also on the right half of the composition. So we go ahead and we merge the layer down, but we don't need the circles that are here in the row on the middle. So just the one that are here on the left. So we go ahead and we merge them down on one layer. And not the first cycle either. So as you can see, it is all on one layer together. So then we go layer to image size, and then we duplicate it, and then we are going to flip it, but this time we select horizontal, and then we flip it. So as you can see now, we have the flower of life that is complete. So then we can add these outer circles here, as well as at the background. So in order to do so, we create a new layer, and we can call it outer circle. Hit OK. And then take the ellipse tool once again. And then we're going to create this outer circle. So make sure it ends here. And then go Edit, Stroke Selection, Stroke. Then we're going to create one more. So Ctrl-Shift-A to unselect. Like this. And then Edit, Stroke Selection. Okay, so now we have the second outer circle. So now we can create this fractal background. So then to do so, we create a new layer here. And we can call it background. So in order to do so, we go to Filters, Render, Noise, Plasma. As you can see, the background is applied, so if you want, you can adjust the settings to make it different feel, and then you click OK. So that's it. So now you have created the flower of life in GIMP. So if you enjoyed this tutorial and you learned something from it, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more tutorials in the future. And until then, see you next time. Bye.